We now return to Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project, the radio show discussing honest truth about Illinois policy and politics. Here's AM 560's Dan Proft.
Welcome back to Illinois Rising. I'm Pat Hughes of the Illinois Opportunity Project, filling in for Dan this Sunday afternoon, and joining me on the program as our producer, doing a great job as a co-host, Joe Kaiser. And Joe, I had, in my private life, I spend a lot of time recruiting and training candidates for public office, and specifically for the state legislature. And I had the pleasure of meeting our next guest, Chris Miller, when I went down to do some recruiting in the Charleston area in the eastern Illinois, because Reggie Phillips, who's someone that we had supported, my groups and others had supported previously, the former state representative, was retiring, and we needed to find somebody who we thought would be a good fill-in. And in full disclosure, I'm supporting Chris, and he's a great candidate, and we just wanted to have him on the program and learn a little bit about how the campaign is going. So joining us from the Charleston area is Chris Miller. Chris, thanks for joining the program.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
How so you're running in currently a contested primary, and tell me how the campaign is going, and who your main opponents are, and what you guys are trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, we have an opponent that was actually recruited by the Democrats, and I would be the only candidate that's going to be on the ticket this year that's actually a Republican platform candidate. Our campaign is going very well, and we're just trying to go to events. We're going door to door. We're meeting people and shaking as many hands as possible, and just trying to introduce ourselves and let people know what we're about, and let them know that we're the only true conservative that's on the ballot this go around. So
what are you, when you're going out, obviously you've been a farmer in this area for a long time, so you understand the folks down there, and you've interacted with everyone in your prior life before. When you go to the doors and you talk to voters, what are you telling them about their property taxes, about their pension costs, about the structural financial problems that are going on in Illinois and how we can solve them?
Well, one of the, my district is about 100 miles long and about 60 miles wide. And what we've been trying to do mainly is to ask people, what their main concerns are. And I know that, I guess that one thing that I say to them, I said, if I can go to Springfield and wave my magic wand, what are three things that you would like for me to do? And consistently up and down the district and back and forth, the number one thing has been to fire Mike Madigan, and which is interesting. And of course, I can't wave my magic wand and do that. The voters are going to have to change 9 seats in the House and go through the process. But anyway, that's the number one request. Real estate tax, income tax, workman's comp, term limits are the consistent messages that I knocked on doors and talked to people.
And firing Mike Madigan would be a big change to the culture in Springfield. And you had an interesting post on your Facebook page recently that I really liked, that state government, this is in light of the sexual harassment allegations against State Senator Ira Silverstein. You said that state government isn't set up to serve ordinary people. It is set up to enrich and protect the powerful. Now, Dan and Pat talk often about how it's important to get a new crop of people in Springfield with a better set of ethics. What is your assessment of the culture like in Springfield from your perspective as an outsider, and how would you, I don't want to say adjust to that, but how would you approach going to Springfield given that culture, given the set of ethics that they seem to abide by?
Well, I think that, when I go to Springfield, I don't plan to change the principles that I've led by, my whole life. And so when I get to Springfield, I'm just going to be who I am. I've been a man of principle, a man of character, man that, that's always tried to do the right thing the right way. And I don't see that changing. I know that, the opinion, and I guess that I would have to share this, is that, that state government has become the enemy of the people because they they continually are wanting more and more and more of the dollars that we work hard to make, and what we want to spend the money we make, on our families, on our homes, on the things that we enjoy doing, and there's just less and less and less all the time. There seems to be no fiscal restraint.
So, Chris, so we've obviously met, and I've met your wife, who's, fiery and a terrific lady, and believes all the same things that you do, and is, I think, one of the big assets, I'm sure you'll say, to your life, but certainly to this campaign. You've got this wonderful wife. You've got a bunch of kids. You've got grandkids, all across the age spectrum, and you could have said, okay, I'm going to farm and I'm going to hang out with my family and enjoy the blessings that the Lord has given me. What is it specifically that would motivate you, after accomplishing so much in your life, to say, now I'm going to go and fight this fight in Springfield? What was the motivating factor for that?
Well, the motivating factor is that we're working on 4 generations living in East Central Illinois, and we would like to stay here, but I know that one of my daughters and her husband have already left, and we have another daughter and son-in-law that's contemplating leaving, and a lot of it has to do with just the cost of living here in Illinois, between the income tax hike and the real estate tax. I mean, successful people have options, okay? And if they can, my oldest daughter and her husband are considering they have 6 children. They need to build a new house. And of course they had enough foresight to go talk to the county collector to see what their taxes are going to be if they gave him the plans for the house and say, how much is this going to cost me? Well, in Coles County, it was going to cost someplace between $10,000 and $15,000 a year just for the real estate taxes and everything. And, I could live in Indiana, I could live in Kentucky, I could live in Tennessee, because they do their work over the internet, and so they aren't tied to the state of Illinois. They would like to be here because their family's here. But sometimes it comes down to dollars and cents, and you have to make decisions based on what's going to be best for your family in the long run.
Chris, so you've been on the campaign trail a while now, and the primary is just about a month or so away. What is the main message? I know you said firing Mike Madigan, but in your district and your area in particular, in terms of different policies, what are the things that your constituents are worried about most? Whether it's property taxes, out-migration, the income tax hike last year, what is the number one thing that you think people are worried about?
Well, I think that from a business standpoint, the statistics that I've seen, we've had 700,000 people leave since 2005, which is the highest in the nation, and it seems to me like that we're in the top 5 in almost all the wrong categories, with income tax, real estate tax, corporate tax, workman's comp, and so on and so forth. And the people, I'm a big advocate of capping real estate tax as 1% of fair market value. And just because people are so tired of having the equivalent of a second mortgage on their house that never gets paid for. And not only is it, it's crippling, and people are leaving. And also we have to consider the missed opportunities that we have in business, because we need to grow our business climate here too. But just in January, we lost a Toyota Mazda plant that would have meant 4,000 jobs and $1.6 billion of the economy, and et cetera, et cetera. And it just, if we're going to make small changes, you have to change the way you do things. If we're going to make big changes, we have to change the way we think, and get over this idea that we're going to penalize achievement. And anytime anybody has some success, it's like, we get to have another creative way to extract tax dollars from successful people that have achieved great things. And that whole mindset just has to change.
He is Chris Miller. He is running in the Republican primary in the 110th district. This is one of the races where the primary is the general. So if Chris is successful, he's going to be the next representative to replace Reggie Phillips down in the Charleston area, which is where Eastern Illinois University is. Chris, good luck in the rest of your campaign, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Joe, so really quickly, we got about 30 seconds. You know, when Chris mentions that this Toyota Mazda plant is going away, right? It's going somewhere else. It's going to, Georgia. It's going to Tuscaloosa. It's going to Tennessee. I don't know specifically where this one's going to. But I traveled in Georgia, and I traveled in Alabama with my daughter doing college visits, and we'll get to that segment later. And you can see the growth. You can see the paved roads. You can see the new buildings. You can see different policies having a different impact. And Chris Miller, I think, is fighting for those policies here in Illinois.